John Piaget, The Theory of Cognitive Development by Joshua DeVorak. John Piaget was born August 9th, 1896 in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. He was the oldest son of Arthur Piaget and Rebecca Jackson. John's father was a professor of medieval literature at the University of Neuchâtel, and his mother was born in France to a family of French steelmakers. John became very interested in zoology as a child, but later became fascinated with studying the human mind. John's parents hired a nanny to take care of him as a child, and she lied to them by telling them she fought off a kidnapper who tried to abduct young John. Years later, the nanny came clean about the lie she had told, and John was blown away that he had developed a memory from something that was false, from something that had never even happened. This occurrence motivated him to begin developing his own theories about the human mind. Piaget's early professional and personal life. John studied at both the University of Neuchâtel and the University of Zurich. After he graduated, he moved from Switzerland to Paris, France, and began teaching at the Grange Aubel School for Boys. After spending an extended amount of time teaching children, he began to notice that many of them repetitively answered certain simple questions incorrectly. It wasn't the incorrect answers that concerned him, but the reason as to why the children were answering incorrectly. In 1921, John returned to Switzerland and became director of the Rousseau Institute in Geneva. And in 1923, Piaget met his wife, Valentine Châtenay, and they got married and birthed 3 children together. John began studying the cognitive development of his own children from the time of their infancy and throughout their childhood all the way into adulthood. Early professional and personal life continued. John was a professor of psychology, sociology, and the philosophy of science from 1925 to 1929 at the University of Neuchâtel. After his 4th year, he was appointed director of the International Bureau of Education. John Piaget's claim to fame stemmed from his theory of cognitive development. This theory is one of the many reasons why his name lives on even after his death. There are 4 stages in Piaget's theory of cognitive development, which include, in order, sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operations. Number 1 is the sensory motor stage. Piaget considered children from infancy to 2 years of age to be in the sensory motor stage. Their main concern during this stage is figuring out what motor functions they are capable of and also learning that they are a separate entity from the world around them. The pre-operational stage is the second stage. He said that children from ages 2 to 6 years old are in the pre-operational stage. They start to learn words and associate the meanings of them. They begin to tie their inner thoughts about the outside world together with sensory experiences, memories, and learning from adults. Number 3 is the concrete operational stage. Children are considered to be in the concrete operational stage from ages 7 to 12 years old. During this period, children begin to grasp the idea of numbers, math, time, and reading. They also learn to evaluate different objects by learning their similarities and differences. The formal operational stage is the last stage of Piaget's theory of cognitive development. And in the formal operational stage, it begins at age 12 and extends into adulthood. Children begin to think more abstract and form their own opinions about everything our world has to offer. They also begin to see things from other people's points of view through empathy and understand that everyone on our planet has gone through their own unique experiences, and those same experiences are what makes everyone special. And those same experiences are what makes everyone who they actually are. These are John's biggest influences as a psychologist. The first one, and from what I've read, I think he's the biggest influence, is John Mark Baldwin. He's an American philosopher and psychologist who helped found the Department of Psychology at both the University of Toronto and at Princeton. The second one is Henry Bergson. He's a 1927 Nobel Prize winner for literature. And then there's Alfred Binet, a French psychologist who was given the task of determining which students didn't learn best in a regular classroom setting. Those same students were then given remedial work and different opportunities to succeed in school. And I can really relate to that because I teach kindergarten through sixth grade special ed, and there's a variety of different learning disabilities and difficulties that my students have, and some of Jan's findings are helping me learn how to deal with certain educational disabilities, and each student is unique, and I truly believe that we have to go out of our way as educators to make sure that we're giving each student, regardless of their disability or difficulty learning, we have to give them the same opportunities as kids who maybe don't struggle as much with reading or math or dyslexia or something like that. Number 4 is Piaget. He's considered one of the founding fathers of psychology and was the first to connect past experiences to modern day difficulties. I can relate to that because there's a lot during my childhood that I still think subliminally bothers me in today's time. There's stuff from my past that I haven't gotten over, and there's stuff that just still subliminally bothers me even years later, and I think everyone deals with that, especially students that come from broken homes and have difficulties in their own personal lives outside of school. So I think that was a very important connection to make, was connecting past experiences to modern day difficulties. And our last one that influenced Jan was Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who is considered to be the founder of analytical psychology. John Piaget's late life and death. John never ceased to learn. He was a professor of psychology and sociology for over 40 years, from 1921 until 1964, at the collegiate level. In 1954 and 1955, John was appointed as the president of the International Union of Scientific Psychology and also appointed as director of the International Center for Genetic Epistemology. John finished his life as a professor at the University of Geneva and won the Balzan Prize for Social and Political Science in 1979, 1 year before his passing. He was given the award for being the founder of genetic epistemology. Piaget put in lots of hard work and thought into social and cognitive child development, as we educators are thankful for his findings and influence. As educators, we are thankful for his findings and influence. Sorry, I said that wrong. Piaget's theories have made a huge impact on how educators manage their classrooms and provide instruction. Instead of strictly focusing on concrete instruction, his methods have facilitated opportunities for teachers to take more of a background role. Teachers now use Piaget's methods such as peer revision, peer interaction, individual and student-centered learning, discovery learning, active learning, and formative assessment. From reading about John's findings, I have changed as an educator. Many of the things I'm learning about in my classroom or in my education courses correlate directly to the many situations that I deal with in my classroom on a day-to-day basis. I'm eager to learn more and continue to grow as an educator by studying the findings of pioneers such as Jean Piaget. This is my bibliography. A lot of these came from the same Saul McLeod guy. I found they're all educational websites. I found this website called Simply Psychology, and this guy named Saul had written an article or a journal entry about every single stage of Piaget's cognitive development. and it was very helpful in bringing about my presentation. I enjoyed this project. I've enjoyed your class all year, Dr. Foster, and I hope I did this the right way for you. And yeah, hope you're having a great week. Hope you had a great spring break, and I'm really enjoying your class. So hope you like my presentation.